whatever the discipline is for lying to Congress, he ought to face that. Clearly.
You're not supposed to lie under oath.
Right.
And that's supposed to be the rule.
Which side are you on? Which side are you on?
I talked about Democratic politicians not knowing labor law, and Republican politicians don't know labor law either, because Romney accidentally praised Starbucks for violating labor law. Let's listen to this.
First, would note that within your company, there are probably some stores that are union, some that are non-union. Do the non-union store employees get paid less than the union store employees?
The starting wage has been the same. The only difference is the benefits that we created in May. And my understanding under the law is that we were not allowed to provide those benefits to people who are organizing to join a union.
And so, in fact, the non-union stores are actually a little better total package than the union stores.
Whoops. Whoopsie daisy.
Yep. What he said, by the way, which he repeated over and over and over again during the hearing, is so blatantly untrue. I'm not an attorney, but I knew right away when they announced that they were providing benefits for some stores, but not for others, and it was based on the union status. That's bullshit. Like, 100%, there is no legal justification for it. By the way, Starbucks Workers United already put in writing that they have no objections to, credit card tipping and these other benefits being rolled out in every store, including the stores that they currently represent.
Yes.
So there's no justification.
Yeah, well, thank goodness Tina Smith pushed him on this, because Senator Tina Smith from... Where is she from?
I don't know.
I don't know, but she pushed him on this, and I'm so thankful for that, because I seriously thought we were going to get through the whole hearing without anybody pushing him on that, because he kept saying it, and he just kept saying it and kept saying it. Oh, it's illegal for us to, and he kept saying it, and I was like,
anyone who knew anything about labor law knew that was so untrue.
Exactly. I was seriously worried that we were going to get through the whole hearing and nobody was going to push him on that, but she did, and so let's listen to this, where she pushes him into maybe admitting a little something that maybe he didn't mean to.
Is still. Mr. Schultz, you repeatedly call your employees partners. Do you value your employees or your partners that want to join a union or have joined a union? Do you value them as much as you value those that have not yet joined a union?
We have respect for every single partner who wears a green apron, regardless of their choice to go for a union.
So yesterday I had the opportunity to meet with some unionized Starbucks workers from Minnesota, Gracie and Elizabeth, and they tell me that Starbucks is cutting their weekly hours. They estimate that they're losing $4 an hour in wages because the company won't allow them in unionized stores to access credit card tipping when that's available to workers in non-unionized shops. And they tell me that they are simultaneously understaffed in their stores and unable to get enough hours to pay their bills. If these folks are your partners, why are you treating them differently than the non-unionized workers?
When we raised wages in May, my understanding was that under the law, we did not have the unilateral right to provide those benefits to partners who were involved in collective bargaining. And that is why.
So you have said that several times during this meeting. You've said that you cannot legally provide these benefits without bargaining over them. But you know, I'm sure, that the union has specifically stated in this letter, July 15th, 2022, that they waived any objection to bargaining on this. It says in the letter, to this end, the union hereby waives any objection that we might have to Starbucks providing union-represented employees with any wage or benefit improvements provided to unrepresented employees. So I don't think this, I just think you're wrong.
Oh, let me try and explain. There are an array of wages and benefits that need to be negotiated in the collective bargaining process. It would not be proper to take one piece of the puzzle out of the negotiating process, since the people who have joined the union have decided that they want to negotiate a contract It is our preference and our right to negotiate that contract fairly and objectively, but not in piecemeal.
Yep. So I think that the way the law reads is that there is an exception to that requirement to negotiate when the employees make a clear and unmistakable waiver to bargaining. But let me ask.
Exactly.
And he said it there. He said it is our preference, and he says his right, and that's not the case, but it is our preference to negotiate the contract in whole and not piecemeal.
Yeah.
I think he ought to be whatever the discipline is for lying to Congress. He ought to face that.
Right.
Because clearly
you're not supposed to lie under oath.
Right.
And that's supposed to be the rule.
That is clearly what happened there, and he was clearly aware of it because Senator Smith was able to push him into admitting that, I know that I was saying that I thought it was illegal before, but now, okay, you pushed me, so really it's actually just a preference that I got. It's a preference that I have. It's a preference to not give these workers the same benefits that all of the other employees have at my stores. It's a preference.
Right. I mean, it also just boggles common sense, right? Like, common sense dictates, okay, you've got these people who are organizing, who want to make things better on their job. They are not going to turn down the new benefits that are being offered. They're going to, the smart ones are going to realize the only reason they're offering this shit in the first place is because we've been organizing.
Right.
Because we've been unionizing. And so now they're trying to sweeten the deal a little bit. They're trying to buy people off a little bit. Of course we'll take your extra money. Of course we'll take the extra benefits.
Yeah. And actually just a couple of days before the hearing, the NLRB came out with a ruling saying that not only is it, hey, actually, you know what? It's legal. It would be legal if you gave these employees credit card tipping as they have waived their right to negotiate over the same benefit that you're giving to all the non-union stores. It would be legal if you did that. Not only are they saying that, 2 days before this hearing, they said that the withholding of that benefit was illegal. The NLRB, in a ruling issued on March the 27th, said that Starbucks illegally withheld a major benefit, the credit card tipping. And now the NLRB is ordering that they give back pay to the nearly 7,000 workers that it's been withheld from. And so we'll see how much back pay that is. But if you start talking about 7,000 workers, $4 an hour, and these people are working 20, 30 hours a week, you can easily start, you're looking at millions of dollars potentially. And so, I hope that they, get them for all they're worth there. But the idea that after that ruling comes out, you're still saying, not only are you saying, because through that, I listened closely to this hearing, and he said, both we thought at the time that it was illegal, which is almost half defensible. If you want to be stupid, you can pretend to believe that, and people will maybe buy it.
Right. Never mind the essentially unlimited budget for lawyers.
Right.
And the fact that they have retained some of the highest priced lawyers in the game.
Right.
But yeah, I guess you could try to believe that at one point in time they received bad advice.
Yes. But after the union waived their right to that, and then after the NLRB ruled that withholding that benefit was illegal, the idea that you could still say, because he maintained it in the present tense. He said that I believe, present tense, that it is not legal for us to do that. It's not believable. It is not believable that that's actually what he thought in his head. Well, he should be arrested for perjury, for lying to Congress, whatever that is, and yeah, sent to prison for that. Because that was a clear, obvious lie. Clearly, obviously lying under oath there, Howard Schultz. Just unbelievable. And yeah, and so let's look at this. Additionally, part of this issue is not only are they not giving these benefits to them piecemeal, but they're not coming to first contracts. They're not coming to first contracts.
Right. They're acting in bad faith, 100%.
And so and we're going to skip the virtual shareholders one and go to the single store clip, and then we're going to go back to the virtual shareholders one. But he explains why it's been so hard for him to schedule meetings to negotiate on these first contracts, which is what he lays the blame at the workers for the reason that they've not got a first contract yet. Let's listen to this.
Under your leadership, Starbucks has repeatedly refused to bargain with any of the 7,000 workers in nearly 300 stores where workers have voted to represent themselves through a union. The first group of workers to win their election have been waiting more than 460 days to reach a first contract. Mr. Schultz, will you commit right now that within 14 days of this hearing, Starbucks will exchange proposals with the union, something it has refused to do for more than 450 days, so that meaningful progress can be made to bargain a first contract in good faith? Will you make that commitment?
Because the arrangement that was made by the union and the NLRB in Buffalo to negotiate one single store at a time, we have met over 85 times for a single store. We've tried to arrange over 350 separate meetings. We've said publicly, and I say it here again, that we believe that face-to-face negotiations is the way to proceed. And the reason I want to make that point is that there have been safety issues in which Starbucks managers have been outed on social media. There are privacy issues. We don't want to do it on Zoom. We are prepared to meet face-to-face on a single store issue.
Will you make a promise to this committee that you will exchange proposals with the union so that we can begin to make meaningful progress?
On a single store basis, we will continue to negotiate in good faith. That's what we'll do.
3 minutes over.
You haven't given proposals in over 450 days, and you're going to say that you're still acting in good faith?
Yeah.
Jesus.
It's just insane. And the idea that you have to have a face-to-face meeting is just silly. And, you know, the idea that, oh, they've been outed on social media. Well, you know, maybe don't.
It's called LinkedIn.
Right.
Anyone can go there and find out where you work, dipshit.
Exactly. Exactly.
If you're embarrassed to be in management, if you're embarrassed to be a union buster, if you're embarrassed to go into a bargaining room and act in bad faith towards workers,
maybe don't do that.
Go find another job, right?
Yeah.
That's what you tell the baristas. You don't like it here, go find another job. Why don't you find another fucking job?
Exactly. Exactly. And you are not, under the National Labor Relations Act, you are not entitled, the employer is not, to whatever ground rules you want. You can't do that. You can't do that. And so you cannot not negotiate because the workers want the negotiations to be more open. And the reason that the workers want them to be more open is, the reason that the employers don't want them to be open, the reason that Starbucks want these things to be hidden, to happen behind closed doors, is because they don't want the rest of their employees to figure out what they actually think about them. That's the issue there, right? Because if they are negotiating in good faith and the workers are the ones being unreasonable, well, why would you be worried about other people seeing that? What would be the issue? What would be the issue? And it's also important to note, as a point of fact, the agreement that he mentions about negotiating store by store is fictional. That was not the agreement that was reached. The arrangement that was reached by the NLRB and the workers was to have elections store by store. They were actually interested in larger regional or national negotiations, but Starbucks is refusing to do that. Starbucks is the one that is necessitating single store by store negotiations, not the workers. So that's an important thing to mention. And he talks about the importance of face-to-face communication. And later on in the thing, he talks about how, oh, you know, it's just the best. It's better to talk face-to-face. And I'm sympathetic to that. That, you know, I like face-to-face communication. But it's not, it's not an excuse to not bargain with your employees. But Senator Ben Ray Lujan from New Mexico, I believe, he threw a kink in that story about how, face-to-face communication is so important. Let's play this and see what their stance is with respect to shareholder meetings.
Is it true that Starbucks can hold shareholder meetings virtually, but it refuses to allow some union members to join bargaining negotiations virtually, even if other members are present?
That's correct.
There you go. Shareholders can meet via Zoom, but not workers.
You just saw a clip from the Valley Labor Report. We are live every Saturday morning from 9:30 a.m. till 12:30 p.m. And we pride ourselves on keeping all of our content free to everybody so that we can talk to as many working folks as possible. If you support the work that we're doing, you think that it's important, you think that it's good, then consider making a monthly contribution to the project, and you can do that on our website, tvlr.fm.